Hello and welcome to True Crime and the Court of Public Opinion. I'm Alexis Knight, and this is your Monday edition of Headline Lies, where we expose the stories they sold you and the truth they never meant for you to see. Now, this weekend, we're pulling back the curtain on Apple's broken AI, fake ICE crackdowns, and a wild conspiracy twist involving USAID and Jeffrey Epstein. We're talking deep fake headlines, misdirection, manipulated outrage, and why it all matters more than you might think. Because in a world where algorithms write your news and fact checkers are quietly on someone else's payroll, the lie is the headline and the truth is the subtext they hope you'll never read. So, in this episode, we're going to dive into some of the most misleading, manipulative, or outright false headlines that made the rounds Friday until now. Let's check it out. If you saw the stories and you felt like something didn't add up, maybe you were right. Let's walk through some of them together one by one. Why? Because someone has to. Let's get into it. And let's start here first, though. What is a headline anymore? I say headline lies. What's going on with those? Old school journalism would say a headline is the lead sentence from a major media outlet, right? Something vetted, published, and important enough to pay attention to. And so that's how people have been conditioned. But in today's world, a headline can come from anyone, anywhere. It doesn't need a newsroom, a press badge, or a masthead. All it needs is traction. A sentence in a tweet, a caption under a viral video, a post from an influencer, a financial bro, or an anonymous burner account. If enough people see it, believe it, and pass it on, it becomes the story that gets clicked, gets advertising, and makes someone a lot of money, whether it is true or not. That is the world we live in now. I want to point that out. Headlines don't just inform, they manipulate. That's the playbook these days, and sometimes they flat out lie. Now, once upon a time, not that long ago, headlines came from one place, the newsroom. You got your morning paper or turned on the news, and there it was. The story or stories, carefully written, edited, verified usually, and designed to communicate the most important facts in as few words as possible. A headline was a stamp of authority. It told you, hey, this is news, this mattered, look over here, this happened. You need to know this. But that world is gone, but we're all behaving the same way. Like every time a headline crosses our feed, we must stand at attention and react. Today a headline doesn't come from a newsroom a lot of the time. It doesn't need one. It doesn't even need a journalist, let's be real. All it needs is momentum to spread. A headline, it really doesn't communicate something that happens to us. A headline is a chance for traction for whoever put it out. It can come from a teenager on TikTok, a simple post on Reddit, a meme with 10,000 retweets, a tweet from a parody account that looks real enough, or a chat bot trained to sound like a finance reporter. If it moves fast enough, it doesn't matter where it came from. People will believe it, react to it, and act on it. That's how powerful headlines are in this new era. They no longer serve as entry points to real journalism, a real story that you need to know for your own benefit, of course. No, they are now standalone weapons, fragments of content designed not to inform but to provoke. And they don't just shape the news cycle, they are the news cycle. Do you see what I mean? It's not the same anymore. Let's be clear, the headline is the most dangerous sentence on the internet these days. It can grab you, and what happens from there, a lot of times you're not even in control of. In less than 10 words, It can steer the public conversation, spike or crash the stock market. It's happening. End someone's career. That's happening. Launch a conspiracy theory, trigger panic, spread a false sense of security even. It doesn't even actually need to be false in the words, really, to be damaging. Maybe this should be damaging headlines. But they're all not what you think they are. At least I'd say 90% of the time. It just has to be framed, even if it's the truth, to do what it's intended to do, whoever the person is that has the intention. That's where the deception lives. It's not always in the facts, like, is this fact checked? It's in the way those facts are delivered to you and what they provoke. Take a sentence like, Trump may pause tariffs for 90 days. That's the one I'm talking about here. It seems harmless, right? Just a maybe. But who said this? Where did this come from? Was it an official statement? A policy shift? Was it something far more reckless? A made-up quote posted by a social media account pretending to be a newswire? And then parroted by media outlets before anyone could fact-check it? That exact same thing happened here. Just happened. And in a matter of minutes, billions of dollars in market value swayed because of it. This is the core issue. Headlines have become detached from verification. We all need to be aware and realize and believe this. I mean, once the rule was right, then you verify, and then you publish, right? I want to do this story. Let's make sure everything's right, and let's get the information to the public. But today, it's get this idea out here. Oh boy, people are going to love this. Verify it later if you even have to. I mean, the game is speed, because within the next day or two, that headline's gone and you've thought of another one to spread around. Whoever gets the headline up first wins those clicks and the views and the retweets and those metrics. Not truth. They are what drive the business of modern media. It's the race we're in, folks, whether you want to believe it or not. And it's not just media companies doing this anymore. I want to be really clear about that. Everyone's fighting over what news channel you like or don't like. I mean, how many of them are there in your area that you even care about, if you are really even watching them, for more than weather? Where are you getting your headlines from? Think about it. Headlines now belong to everyone. A single tweet from an account with the right tone and the right phrasing and the right timing can get picked up by major platforms in minutes. It doesn't matter if it's true. It just has to feel true and move through everything very quickly. This is how we end up in the swamp of information or misinformation, all the half-truths, the weaponized language. This is how someone can post a single sentence online, maybe as a joke, maybe out of malice, maybe just for clout, and that sentence becomes news. So let's break this down. There are three key reasons why modern headlines are so dangerous. Speed kills scrutiny. We live in a world of instant reaction. News breaks on X, gets reposted to Instagram, hits Discord and Reddit, and then explodes on YouTube, all before a single editor can weigh in. The speed at which misinformation travels vastly outspaces the speed at which truth can catch up, if it ever does. By the time something is corrected, the damage is already done. And I mean, look at it out there. Everyone is a headline writer now. The tools of media are in everyone's pocket. You don't need a degree in journalism to post a sentence that sounds official but can ruin lives, take your money, make someone else money, and you won't even know what happened because 2 days later the whole thing is done. And the worst part about all of this is the machine is behind it. The algorithm rewards the outrage that they put the headlines out to create. Outrage creates responses, movements, things people can't control, and that all gets clicks and shares and makes money. They're not neutral bulletin boards out there, guys. These places are designed to maximize engagement no matter how it is. And nothing engages people like fear, fury, scandal, all of that stuff. And it brings us back to one of the biggest headlines that made it around out there, that Trump tariff pause headline. It didn't come from an official press release. It didn't come from the White House. It came from a tweet. Not even from a verified journalist, but from an account designed to sound like one. Hammer Capital claimed White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett made a policy statement, but he didn't. Then Walter Bloomberg, an X account that mimics Bloomberg's formatting, but has no affiliation, they repost it. And this gives the illusion of legitimacy. This is all done on purpose, guys. Even when you're watching YouTube, are you really looking at the handles? You got to look at where these things are coming from. If you want to see a story from TMZ, make sure you're watching TMZ, not someone who's sharing TMZ, because it changes. Now, in this one, from after the whole Bloomberg mess, it goes on to CNBC. They pick it up. And just imagine, the ripple effect began and went nuts from there. Markets surged. Millions were made and then lost, all in a matter of minutes. By the time the White House issued a denial, the lie had already gone around the entire world. This is not just a fluke. This is the new normal. I try to talk about it every week, Mondays and Fridays, guys. A world where economic decisions, public sentiment, and even election outcomes can be influenced by a single sentence. And most of the time, that sentence doesn't come from a newsroom, which is where they want us looking. But no, it comes from some guy who just happens to have a phone. So when we say headline lies, we're not just talking about clickbait. We're talking about an entire system out there of narrative manipulation that has infected every corner of the information ecosystem. It's not just that people are lying, guys. It's that the system is rewarding the lie more than the truth because it spreads faster and people get excited and outraged. Next time you read a headline, ask yourself, who said this? Who benefits from me believing it? Was I about to share it? Did I want to tell someone about it? And where's the proof of this? And if it's false, will anyone even care? Or will the reaction and then the share just take care of it? Because in an age of viral headlines, guys, the truth, it doesn't spread nearly as fast as outrage. I keep saying it, and that's exactly how they want it because it is working. But all right, let's get back to the lie that moved the market. Trump considering 90-day tariff pause. I mean, this is not a joke. This is not satire. This is a real example of how one fake sentence cost millions, maybe billions, and briefly hijacked financial reality. Now let's walk through it step by step. Okay, on Monday, April 7th, 2025, at 10:11 a.m. Eastern Time, a post appears on X, formerly Twitter, from an account named Hammer Capital. And it read, breaking, White House considering a 90-day tariff pause for all countries except China, according to Kevin Hassett. That one sentence, unattributed, unverified, completely fabricated, lit the match. 2 minutes later, Walter Bloomberg, a widely followed finance-focused X account with over 1 million followers, reposts this claim. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Walter Bloomberg, here's the trick. It's not Bloomberg. It's just an account styled to look like Bloomberg headlines. Fast, urgent, minimalistic formatting, but it's completely unaffiliated. It's a ghost brand with a very big reach. To the average user scrolling for breaking market news, this repost looked very real. To the media, looked real enough to them. By 10:15 that morning, CNBC anchors were quoting the claim live on air. By 10:17, the financial wires were buzzing. By 10:18, The S&P 500 spiked nearly 8%. Fact. All in the span of 7 minutes. But there was just one problem. Kevin Hassett never said it. The White House wasn't considering it. There was no 90-day tariff pause. The whole thing was made up. And this wasn't just a harmless rumor. This was market-moving disinformation. And why? Because tariffs, especially those involving China, they're high-stakes economic policy. Any potential pause implies softer global trade tensions. That affects everything from international shipping to U.S. manufacturing forecasts to oil prices. It sends a signal to investors. Breathe easy. Things are easing up. But this signal was false. So then, things keep going, guys. It's not over. By 10:25 that morning, just 14 minutes after the original tweet, the White House issued a categorical denial. They used the exact words, completely false. They said, fake news. And yet by then, the damage was already done. And this is why I'm telling you this story, so you can understand how this works. The damage was already done. The market had surged, and people had traded on the fake news. Opportunists sold high, unaware or unconcerned that the whole thing was built on air. Walter Bloomberg deleted the tweet. But of course, screenshots lived on as they always do. The lie was immortalized, and the impact was measurable. So how did this happen? Let's dissect the anatomy of this particular headline lie because it's textbook 2025 media manipulation. What do I always say? Playbook. This one has one too. Step 1, use a familiar format. The Hammer Capital post mimicked the exact syntax of financial news alerts. Breaking, throw in a policy shift, according to, throw in an authority figure. It's a template. This phrasing bypasses skepticism. It reads like something a Bloomberg terminal would flash, and it feels real because we've seen it before. We've verified it in our mind, so we've thought. Now, step 2, tag a credible name. They dropped Kevin Hassett's name, an actual former White House economic advisor. This name wasn't current, but it was plausible, incredible enough to disarm your critical thinking. And if you're scanning a fast-moving news feed, which you're doing every day, you're not going to double-check who's even in the administration. You're just going to assume, oh, Hassett, I know the name. Someone official. And then step 3. Remember, it's moving fast. Let the amplifiers do the rest. So once Walter Bloomberg reposted it, that's when the wildfire began. Now the claim had pseudo-credibility and massive reach. That account is notorious for pushing just fast enough to matter headlines, regardless of their accuracy, okay? Regardless. But here's the real twist on this one. Major media took the bait. Major media. CNBC quoted it. Financial journalists ran with it, and they didn't wait for confirmation. They just reacted live on air. Why? Because speed rules everything. And in finance, if you're late, you lose the trade. So when the rumor flashed, the market jumped before anyone verified anything. Truth lagged behind by more than 10 minutes, which is an eternity in high-frequency trading. So then, step 4, deny, delete, and just walk away. That's how easy that is. Once the lie was debunked, it was quietly just deleted. No correction tweet, no accountability, that's for sure. No follow-up from CNBC or any other media outlets with any proper retraction. And that is the standard play now. This is our world now. Drop the bomb, then deny it existed and move on. And it works every minute, every day, all day. And here's why this matters. This wasn't a political hit job. This wasn't a smear against a candidate or something like that. This was financial disinformation that triggered real trades and affected the global economy. in just 14 minutes. This kind of story, it should terrify anyone who still thinks that we live in a truth-based economy. That's why this podcast is so important. If you know someone that's still believing everything out there, send them to this podcast. I can't get the truth out fast enough. This stuff is happening every day, all day. It proves all of this playbook. Markets can be gamed with just a sentence. Major news outlets, they will echo a lie if it's formatted right. If it's moving fast enough to get good clicks, it'll sweep right through a major media news outlet without them blinking an eye. And they'll take the profit, move on to the next one. And the beautiful thing for everyone involved is that no one has to be held accountable. They're just doing it freely, making money off of you. No one's accountable, not the people posting it, not the people sharing it, not the media that spreads it, even though we think they're supposed to tell us the truth. I hope if you're listening to my podcast, you're realizing that maybe the weather's true. I mean, if you or I manipulated the market with a fake press release, you know what that's called? Wire fraud. And you know what happens? Prison. But if you do it on X with a meme account, I guess it's just a blip. Deleted account tomorrow, and a story that no one's going to follow up on or care. Welcome to the headline economy, guys, where perception is currency. Verification's optional. No one cares. All right? And it's not rare anymore. I'm telling you this because this is what it is. This wasn't an isolated incident. It's becoming more common by the week, whether it's false flag politics, fabricated celebrity deaths, fake tech breakthroughs. Headlines are being manufactured, they are gamed, and they are pushed for influence. And the scariest part is it's working on all of us. We now live in a world where anyone, literally anyone with enough reach, can steer public perception, set off economic reactions, or ignite social panic without ever telling the truth. This is why headline lies exist, why I do these episodes every Monday and Friday, guys, with all the crazy stuff in between. Because if we don't start paying attention to where these stories come from or who's behind them and what they're designed to trigger, we will keep getting played. And where are we going with this? Where are they steering everyone? Because we won't know until we get there. And by then it'll be too late. This is happening again and again and again, and we're getting more used to it. We're getting more accepting of it. And before you know it, you could be involved in a situation or removed from a situation, but somehow in a life you didn't expect, in a situation you didn't expect, all because you were directed there without you even realizing it. Okay, now that we've unpacked how headlines can be weaponized, let's look at some real-world examples. These are headlines you might have scrolled past on social media or group chats, or even on major news sites. Some were outright fabrications, others twisted the truth just enough to mislead you. So here's a quick rundown of some misleading headlines that recently made waves. Well, I went over the Trump considering 90-day tariff. We went over that one, claiming the White House advisor, Kevin Hassett, announces this tariff pause, but no such statement was ever made. All right, fake news. Biden's cheap fakes, narrative debunked. That was a headline. Mainstream media outlets. Videos showing Biden appearing disoriented, being labeled as cheap fakes, untrue. But in the end, these videos were authentic. The cheap fakes label was the mischaracterization. That was the lie. Why they wouldn't want you to know the president had a health condition? I don't know. I guess that made more clicks. Here's another one. Kamala Harris must steal the election to save democracy. This involved a fabricated screenshot mimicking The Atlantic, and people ran with it. This lie suggested Harris would need to commit electoral fraud, and it was a must. In reality, The Atlantic itself confirmed the headline was fake. No such article ever existed. All right, how about this headline? Trump calls Heroic nurse Ruby Bradley, a loser. This went all over social media, posted everywhere it had legs, alleging Trump insulted a decorated military nurse and then ordered her records removed. Just flat out ordered them to be removed. But in reality, there was no evidence that supported this claim at all. And then the Pentagon confirmed that her records remain intact. So why this headline? What is going on with it? How about this next one that says Project 2025 includes period passports for women? This thing went viral, as you can imagine. Maybe you saw it out there. What'd you think of it? It claimed the policy agenda proposed tracking women's menstrual cycles. Yeah. Well, in reality, no such proposal exists in Project 2025. This claim originated from a satirical source, but it went around as truth. People talked about it at their dinner tables, and they spread it like wildfire. How about this one? ICE conducts mass deportations nationwide. Okay, Google search results displayed this information, this outdated ICE press release information. The lie suggested recent widespread immigration raids. But in reality, many press releases that have been released were years old. But the messaging and everything made it all appear recent due to updated timestamps. So it made everything confusing on what was really going on with deportations and what wasn't, which is what they wanted. And boy, did it spread. So good job, folks. Making money for those guys. All right, how about this one? J.D. Vance caught criticizing Elon Musk in leaked audio. Oh, wow. This was all over social media. The lie purported audio of Vance disparaging Musk. And who wouldn't want to listen to that? I mean, what's going on with this, right? But in reality, there was audio that had been manipulated. And experts confirmed it was fake. But by then, if you've already heard it, you're going to believe that over anything I'm telling you right now. And their job is done, right? How about this one? Trump ordered Duterte's release from ICC custody. All over the media posts, everywhere, claiming Trump intervened in these legal proceedings. But in reality, Trump made no such order, and there is no proof of this. Something happening here is we're noticing the administration's always on attack, no matter who it is, and Trump, of course, is going to draw a lot of attention here. I see a lot of posts, and whatever side you're on, what's bad about this is in a country that's having a lot of issues, it's better to know where we stand, right? And when we're confused about what's going on with our president, it doesn't help anyone. So just not awesome on that. Here's another one, another president. Biden froze on stage and needed Obama's help to exit. Now, two presidents on this one. This went around in viral video clips, implying that Biden was incapacitated during this specific event. But in reality, this video was taken out of context. Biden paused amid applause before exiting with Obama. So in that instance, they were trying to push the other message, and it still just wasn't the right message, was not the truth. All right, how about this one? Trump claims babies change radically post-vaccination. This thing went around with public statements as the source. Are we really looking at sources these days? Are you looking at the source? Are you digging to find the real source of anything you read out there? The lie here suggested immediate and drastic changes in babies after vaccination. And this would scare any new mother out there. But in reality, there is no scientific evidence supporting this claim. It's a false assertion. It's a false headline, leading you to have fear. It gave you someone to blame. And it gave you an unavoidable situation, well, for many, the process of vaccinating our children. Puts people in a position where they feel backed against a wall, need to know the truth, yet they read a headline and have already thought that is the truth. And it just keeps going on and on every single day. Okay, for a moment, I want to pause here because I know this is a lot and I know how easy it is to tune out or just scroll past all of it. All the lies, all the spin, all the noise. But this is where the podcast shifts, okay? Here, right now. Now, in the first half of this episode, I showed you what they're doing, examples, right? But now I want to show you how, because if I don't explain how this system works, how they're building these headlines, how they're slipping them into your feed, how they're profiting off of your emotions, then you could just assume this is another rant, maybe another conspiracy breakdown. And that is not what this is. I am not here to lie to you. I am not here to confuse you. And I'm definitely not here to do what they're doing, lie to you for clicks. I'm doing this because it matters. And we're losing it out here, guys. It pisses me off that it's gotten this bad. This topic is upsetting, and it should be. But if you care about the truth, if you care about not being used by total strangers, and stick with this. This next section I'm going to get into here is about education so that you understand what is exactly happening to you, why it's happening, and how you can fight back. Because once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it, and that's good for you. So let me introduce a term that I want you to remember. Maybe you can spread this instead of all those lies out there. Really, a term I hope we can push into the mainstream to educate the people we care about. It's called signal fraud. All right, now what is signal fraud, though? It is when a headline, a post, or a clip is designed to look like legitimate information, but it is not. It is fake, or it is carefully distorted. Or maybe it's real, but then twisted just enough to change how you feel about it and how you're going to react to it. It's not the same as sloppy reporting. This is not a mistake. This is full-on intentional. It is built to manipulate your emotions, steer your behavior, and keep you in a loop of confusion and reaction. Think of it like identity theft, but for truth. That's why I'm calling it signal fraud, because it is fraud, plain and simple. It just doesn't steal your money directly. It steals your trust, your time, and your ability to know what's real while you're making money for somebody else. Signal fraud 101. Exactly what is it? How does it work? So let's start right there. Signal fraud is when a post, headline, or video pretends to be information, but it's actually manipulation. It is a fake signal. It is dressed up like news, looks urgent, emotional, or official, but it's designed to trigger you, not inform you. Here's the sick part. It doesn't even need to be totally fake. It just needs to be framed. Take a real clip, right? Cut it early. Remove the context. Add a headline that pushes a story and boom, signal fraud. The structure's real. The emotions are very real. But the truth? It's gone. It's not about that sloppy reporting, like I said. It's not, oops, we got it wrong. This is intentional, built to hijack your reaction, to make you feel something before you have time to think, and make that feeling strong enough that you just need to share it. That's why this is dangerous. Signal fraud spreads faster than truth because it's designed for the algorithm. Anger spreads, fear spreads, conflict spreads. So they craft headlines that feel real enough to pass, but explosive enough to explode. Like I said, identity theft. It's like that, but for reality, for truth. It tricks your brain into logging the story as true before you've even processed it. And by the time your logic catches up, you've already believed the lie. Let me break it down simply. Here is how signal fraud works. Looks like a news headline. It feels like something you should know, but it's missing context. It is based on a lie or spun to manipulate you. It hits you emotionally and you react before you verify it, and I really highly doubt you're out there verifying anything. The algorithm picks up your reaction and it amplifies that. And now it's everywhere. And no one remembers the correction when it maybe comes out later. But they definitely remember the lie. So now that you know what signal fraud is, let's talk about who's doing it. Because it's not just one group or one agenda. Signal fraud is happening across the board, and it's every player that has something to gain. You have clickbait sites, they're the bottom feeders. These are your classic click farms. Sites with names you've never heard of, links that show up in ads and pop-ups or at the bottom of legit articles. And they'll write anything if it gets a click. It doesn't have to be true, just clickable. And why? Because every click equals ad money. And that's it. You open that page and they get paid. It doesn't matter if the headline was a lie. They've already won. Everyone's happy on their end. Then you have the outrage influencers. The rage economy. These are the people building their brand off of conflict. Some are on the left, some are on the right, some are playing both sides and you're the loser. Just chaos merchants. They post these extreme headlines and emotional videos, twisted clips, because anger will keep you engaged. The longer you argue in the comments, the more their posts get boosted. They monetize that through followers, YouTube ads, merch, paid subscriptions, and they do not care if it's true. They care if it hits. Then you have the foreign troll farms, strategic disinformation. From far away, Russia, China, Iran, and others run networks of fake accounts, meme pages, and AI-generated news pages. And the goal isn't clicks here, it is chaos. They want us divided, paranoid, and full of mistrust. And I don't know if you can feel it, but it sure is working. They will post both sides of an issue, pro-cop and anti-cop, pro-vaccine and anti-vaccine, to create the maximum level of division. And can you tell if it's working? I really hope you didn't miss that one. This is information warfare, and signal fraud is their main weapon. Then we have the dark money media and political fronts with their hidden agendas. And people speculate about these all the time, but what is it? They look like independent news sources, but they're backed by political donors or special interest groups. Yes, this is fact. Their headlines push a consistent message, always in one direction, always with the same villain, always with the same emotional target. They use signal fraud to shift public opinion, distract from real scandals, or spin up fake ones. And you won't know who's behind it unless you follow the money. Do you have the capability or the time to follow the money? And then this one. We know it. It's hard to believe it because we are drawn to believe these guys. Legacy media. The institutional framers. Even the big names are doing it whether you want to believe it or not. Not always fake, okay, but framed for sure, designed to push emotion, not accuracy. They use selective language like lashes out or melts down. Have you ever heard them say pummels or refuses to say? These words are all put together to provoke. That's why you hear them on all the media channels. They know what they're doing. They know emotions equal ratings. You stay tuned, you stay mad, you come back tomorrow. And then this one, and I've talked about this, and I will continue to talk about it because the danger here is beyond. AI news generators. Noise machines, basically. I mean, now we're seeing news articles, headlines, even tweets, all written by bots. They pull from real content, but they don't understand nuance. So they'll stitch together quotes and stats that sound real, but they are totally misleading. Some of this is SEO spam. Some is scam traffic. Some is foreign disinformation. But either way, it's signal fraud by machine, and it is growing. And sometimes very hard to spot. So when you ask, who's lying to me? The answer is a lot of people. And why do you care about it? Why does it matter to you, the simple person at home checking out Instagram? Because they're doing it for different reasons, and it's all coming at you. It's all affecting your brain. Some want you to click. Some want you to like them. They want your loyalty. You have any favorites out there that you just think are so nice? I like this guy. I like her. Some want to divide your country. And that's working. They all want something from you. And my point of sharing all these different ways is to show you the overwhelming amount of information coming at you that is untrue. So imagine your own feed. What is true in your own feed? And remember who you trust. They know you trust them. It's part of the machine. So let's bring this home. You've heard the headlines. You've seen how twisted they can be. But here's the part that matters most. Signal fraud works. And it works because of you. Not because you're dumb, not because you're gullible, but because the system was designed to hijack your instincts. The emotion hits you first, before logic even shows up. And that is not an accident. That is the playbook. You see something that sounds urgent, scary, or explosive, and your brain locks onto it. You react. You engage. You maybe even share it. And that split-second reaction is what fuels the whole system. Every headline that makes you mad, every clip that makes you say, "What the hell?" Every quote that sounds just a little too perfectly outrageous. That is signal fraud. And every time you click, comment, argue, or share it, someone profits. And this is where people get confused, right? Like, if I look at this, how's that hurting anyone? What's the big deal here? Okay, but it's because they're using your mind to make money for them. And it's twisting your thoughts, and it's altering your perception of what's going on around you. But how do they profit? How do they profit? No one ever gets this answer. Well, influencers, they get all their followers and they instantly start getting brand deals because people want their brands out there. So if they can get you to click no matter what or like them, they're getting those brand deals. News platforms, they get ad views every day, all day. Foreign actors, they get division and chaos. And that pushes other things, and that's what they want. Political operatives, they shift public opinion. And there's a lot to be made off of that. You shift public opinion, you're buying things, you're doing things, you're going places. And you're clicking. You are in for a cause. Political causes, having us divided and really pushing something we want for our side. I mean, we could do a lot with that. And every time we do something about that, they're making money off of you. Or me, right? Clickbait farms, they rake in passive revenue. I mean, they're just putting out total junk all day, and they just sit back and make money all day. They don't care. They do not care. They're not informing you. They're farming you. And once you can understand that, you can't unsee it. Really study your own feed. It's there. Look, I'm not doing this show because I want to scare you. I'm not doing it because I want to lie to you. I'm doing it because someone has to do this. You are being lied to, not once and not by accident. It's happening every single day by people who are counting on you, not paying attention. And that's why I am here, not to yell, not to preach, but to tell you what is real. and give you back your own mind. They don't care if it's true. I do. This was a hard episode, but it had to happen because this isn't just a media problem, and that's also where some of the confusion is. Hey, if I just don't watch the news, I'm safe. I hope I explained enough that you can understand that is not it. And this is a trust problem, a truth problem, and it is literally tearing us apart because we are all confused at what the truth is. Whose side are we on? What side is what? The sides are made up half the time, and as long as we're engaged, someone's making money. So again, next time you see a headline that makes your heart race, stop. Ask yourself, is this news or is this signal fraud? I'm Alexis Knight, and this is why I do what I do. Talk to you all the next time.